a a bottom ravine that's really close to camp. So I got out right at dark. I immediately got in the truck. I drove around the road to get cell phone service to make my calls home, tell everybody good night, love them, that normal stuff. I was on the phone with my uncle right as I got service. I was just saying hey to him, seeing how he was doing, and I seen a buck cross the road in front of me. And I told him, I said, hey, hold on, there's a buck, there's a buck. I got off the phone with him, and I pulled up to this buck, and we had a moment where he looked back at me like 10 yards off the road, and we watched each other for a good minute.
You linked eye to eye with the beast.
We linked eye to eye, man, and he was a monster, and he had the main thing that kicked out was his G2 was split into 3. Okay, he had some kickers on it. And I remembered that, and I'm like, all right, cool, man. And so he kind of jogged off a little bit. There was no does with him or anything. I went up the hill, continued the call with my uncle.
You texted us.
Yeah, I texted you guys. Seen a big one.
I'm going there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm hunting. I said I'm hunting there tomorrow.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I see a buck not too off from the last light of the day, crossing the road. I'm hunting there. It was public.
So I had this debate probably right around the 9th.
Yeah.
I'm coming down the drive, and I see a doe and another deer.
Mm-hmm.
The doe falls in the middle of the asphalt. Mm-hmm. Totally, just falls
slippery
on her ass.
Wet.
And I see this buck, and they kind of scamper up in there, and I got pins on the backside.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's hot, and I'm like, I have the debate. Was he 115 or was he 140? And I never could tell. It was one of those, if I'd have known he was 100% shooter, I'm going there. I'm changing my plans. Mm-hmm. But it was something that I kind of think I kind of think he was 100-incher, plus or minus. I didn't get the body wasn't super big. If he'd have been, real big and framey, I probably would have, picked up on that on the video. Dude, I was driving down this road 2 weeks ago, so later in the rut, I see another buck cross, same spot. Mm-hmm. Dude, I definitely mashed the gas pedal to try and see him better, and I didn't. So I got no idea what buck this is, but I got a little loop on him.
Yeah.
Probably same deer, I kind of think. It was about the same time, same place. But yeah, I think that's a great part of this story is you visually caught a glimpse, caught a clue.
Yeah. Yep. So I went up, made the rest of my phone calls, came back down, passed that same spot, didn't see nothing, but I told myself, I'm coming back here in the morning, and this is where I'm going to hunt.
Did you have pins in that general area?
Now, I did, but they were my turkey pins, okay? And the pins were...
What are turkey pins?
Turkey pins are where birds roost.
Okay, roost trees.
Yeah, roost trees. So I had some roost trees in there, and I had the bed with these sheds that I found when I killed my bird on the pin. And the ridge over was where I had my camera set up where the guys walked in on me the first hunt of the season.
Okay.
And I pulled shit. Okay, I got out of there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm familiar with this ridge. I know how to get up there in the dark. I can make this happen. I'm going to go in there and hunt in the morning. So I made it a point that morning. I got my oatmeal cooked extra early. I had my coffee preset on a timer.
Wow.
I was on it. I was actually motivated for the first time in 20 days I had a mission.
Yeah.
And I had laid eyes on something, So I got my truck. I start heading to that spot. And I was going to drive past the spot to get back to the cell phone signal. I like to make a call to my dad in the morning and everybody just to tell them, hey, I didn't die of carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm awake. I'm heading to my spot.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing that.
Yeah.
So I was going to go up there and make my phone call. And right as I got past the spot where the buck was the night before, there was an 8-pointer, there was a 4-pointer, and there was a doe in the middle of them. So I whipped my wheel to the right, parked on the side of the road, got out. They took off blowing and got out of there. And I said, I don't care if they're blowing. I'm going up this hill because they're not the ones I'm after.
Sure.
Okay. So I got
a hot doe in the area.
Oh yeah,
not a bad thing. A little confidence boost.
It made me feel great.
This prior 24 hours, you seen more deer than you seen the prior month.
Yep. So it made me feel pretty good. So I went up there. I knew where I was heading. On X, I had a tree picked out in the spring that I liked. I used to sit up against it, turkey hunting, and I went up there and got set up in a perfect, it's like a split small oak tree. Had some low hanging limbs that still had leaves on them. I probably got maybe a 2.5 sticks high, not very high at all. Had perfect cover.
Yeah.
And I set. And the roost trees that I had marked, I thought it was pretty cool because there was 3 toms gobbling their heads off.
Oh, you told me you got a little chubby about these birds. Because Rick, are you still turkey over deer?
I am not turkey over deer, but turkey do something to me. The gobble just goes right through me, and I sat there, and I will not lie, I was like, man, I can't wait till the spring. I did for 1 second, and then I zeroed back in. So that day played out a very cold morning. I actually almost put the socks on my boots that morning.
Almost, dude.
That was the thing. I didn't get there, but I almost did it. All day I sat nothing. It was just a blue sky, perfect day, and not a deer in sight. I occasionally in front of me over the hill, over the rise, I did hear what sounded like a deer. Never laid eyes on it. Could have been a squirrel. No clue. And it got to be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I ate lunch, and I was thinking.
You eat lunch in the tree?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually pack like a bologna sandwich or a ham sandwich. I usually have a banana or a yogurt with me too. So I enjoy myself, and I hang the bow up, and I eat my lunch, take my time. And I almost got out of there. I almost pulled my tree stand. I was going to head to another spot. But part of me is really, this spot is just as good as any a lot of times when I'm in a tree. You know, if I'm not seeing nothing, I'm like, well, I could move 50 yards. Doesn't matter. It could happen anywhere. You know, in the big woods, you're really coming down to a lot of luck. You know, 9 times out of 10. You know, these deer, especially big bucks, I've noticed they pave their own paths. They don't stick to trails. They go where they want. Okay, so I was about 100 yards from where I found the sheds and that big buck bed in the spring. Okay, and I was facing that direction. And right at about 4 p.m., man, I'm sitting there, and you get to this like point where you're staring at the leaves and everything's kind of, you know, it's almost graying out. Like the color's getting distorted a little bit with the sun, and everything looks gray. And I happen to just look up, man, and I see these amazing tines just waddling through the brush, making his own trail.
How far away at this point?
He's probably 45.
Holy shit,
yeah,
dude.
He got on me quick.
That's butt pucker close.
He got on me quick. Okay, and but it was, the sun was behind me, the sun was in his eyes, and I was low, and I felt like I had great cover. I seen this buck, you know, of a size that I've never killed in my life.
How many times you see a deer over? Let's just call it 140.
I
see one of those a year.
Believe it or not, I have a good attempt at a big buck every year, and I get one chance, and usually it's never again. When
you say chance, are we saying inside of 50 or inside of like 35?
Inside 50.
Inside 35.
Yeah.
Or do you have a lot of those 40-50 yard encounters?
I have a lot of 40-50s. But
to me, that's not a killable deer in the big woods because twigs, brush, like you can't.
Yeah.
40-50 yards in a field as you can shoot them, right?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But like, to me, like, you know, Dave and I was talking, and like, I had this encounter, and well, could you shoot him? Mm-hmm. Like, was he almost like? To me, there is something to be said. If okay, so you've had a lot of encounters with good class deer.
Yeah. I've shot a lot of big ones. In the past years, I've had severe buck fever, target panic. I've had a few bad hits on the shoulders. I've had a few no man's lands hit. So I've been there before. I've been around the presence of a big buck, and there is something different about it. You feel they almost look so nostalgic walking through the woods, man. It's you almost feel starstruck. Like if you walk into Starbucks and Arnold Schwarzenegger is standing next to you in line, you're almost shocked, you know. So I see him coming at me, and he's almost got like this drunk moose walk. I like to call it that drunk, like you know how moose walk when they kind of waddle back and forth, and he's just kind of
no hurry.
He's doing that, no hurry. Nose not really to the ground. He's just kind of, you can tell he's just thinking in his own head. Okay, and I'm telling him I actually stopped looking at him for about 20 seconds, and I looked at my release, picked up my bow, nice fluid motions, wasn't jerky, and I clipped my release, and I told myself, this is it, Rick. This is the shooter. Okay, and that's something I've been practicing all year. Was even when we went to some bow shoots, Dave and I and Andy. This is it, Rick. Shooter. That's how I begin my sequence. Mm-hmm. Okay, almost every shot at a target. This is it, Rick. This is it, Rick. I always got to remind myself, and it really was comforting that how it brought my heart rate down, and that initial shock of like adrenaline that you get.
Oh, dude, you see a deer.
Yeah.
Especially in the big ones where you may not see deer.
Yeah, I was really impressed with myself on how I controlled it. So I pick my bow up, and then I make eye contact with him again, and I'm doing my best not to even look at the antlers. Okay. So he starts turning to the left, and at this point he had been coming straight on with me. Okay, so now he's going to his right, which is my left. So it's my strong side. It's perfect. I already picked out ahead. There's a big tree that he's going to go behind. I'm going to make my draw. And then he's got another 12 to 15 yards that he has to go. And I was confident that I wasn't going to be holding my bow that long. He was going to be in that because it was a steady pace. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I drew back. Boom. I got set, and I'm not even looking down my peep yet. Okay?
There's a huge relief when you get to full draw without him snapping that
head. Exactly. So I'm at full draw, but I'm not. My face is off my peep, and I'm looking ahead of him 15 yards of where my shot's going to be. Okay, and I had some trees already ranged from earlier in the morning. I knew it was going to be under 30 yards, top pin, no problem. Okay, so he's walking. I'm drawed. Now I settle my peep. Right as I settle my peep, he's behind two trees. I can only see the tips of his main beams, okay, and his ass. And he stops. And I'm holding it. And it seemed like ages went by. Okay, it's nerve-wracking how. And he started working like a licking branch. He almost like he just started working a licking branch of it. There wasn't even a scrape there. I think he just felt the need to just want to rattle his antlers in something. Okay, so I'm sitting here watching this small tree just wiggle around, and I see the tips of his tines every once in a while, and I'm just all right. And that extra time just gave me more time to really calm myself, I felt. Okay, so then I seen he stopped, and I finally got in my peep, and I had it picked out right where I was going to punch the trigger, and he started taking maybe 4 or 5 steps, and he was there. And right as he was there, he started to turn away from me. Okay, so I was gonna shoot a buck that was now like gonna walk into my pins, and now I had to like move my pins to him just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I went Matt, and it was like amazing at how quietly I had to do that to get his attention, and he stopped, and I had him at 25 yards, and I had my pin split. And when I punched that trigger, man, everything was just slow motion. And I had a blue lighted knock. And watching that blue lighted knock go straight in between that yellow and green pin on my side housing, it was just spectacular. It zipped through him. Mm-hmm. I heard that classic pop.
That pop of the balloon?
The pop.
Yeah.
He initially took off very quick. It turned into like more of a slow horse gallop. I watched him and blood is pumping. It's just hasn't hit me yet. I'm watching. And it's pumping. I watch him. He got to the top of this hill. maybe 50 yards from me, and he got that woozy drunk. He fell back on his butt, and then he fell forward and rolled. I seen
the white.
I seen 4 legs in the air as he was
man.
tumbling down, and the emotion that came over me, man, it was probably one of the first times I cried like a little baby in the tree. It was very emotional for me.
Did you know how big he was, or when you seen that moose walk coming in, you're like,
Yeah.
he's 140 plus. Fuck it, I'm shooting him.
Yeah, well, my target this year was like I have to kill a buck over 150. 150. That's been my goal for since I was a kid. 150 has been my goal. Okay, and I knew he was
We're
there.
talking real measure 150,
Yeah.
not Facebook 150.
Yeah, not Facebook 150
God
with the
bless
arms
America.
with the arms stretched out. So yeah, it was a solid 150. I knew that. I was like, he's there. This is him. And after I cried with myself for about 2 minutes, I got the bad shakes. The whole like
The whole convulsion.
Yeah, I mean you just couldn't sit still. I made a few phone calls. I called you.
You call me and you go, Byron, I shot him. He's a monster. He's 150 to 180. I got no idea. He's got wall tines.
Yep. So then after I made my phone calls, man, I lost my shit. I dropped my book bag out of the tree. Okay. And then I realized, oh no, my bow pull-up rope is in my book bag. So now I like put my bow around my neck
Like that
as I'm
crazy
going
TikTok
down. You know,
video.
I look like I have like a recurve bow strung around my shoulders. So I go down, and then I'm like, you know, okay, I get my stuff gathered up, and I start heading over there, and it's just seeing him lay in that deep, steep ravine down there was just I can't even put words on it, but it was like a 1,200-pound weight was just off my shoulders. And for the first time that entire season, I smiled from ear to ear. And it's good. You got him.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy.
Something
I was
you dreamed about,
fist,
right? You
fist
had
bumping
that
myself.
150 goal since you were 8 years old.
It was
or
there,
whatever.
and I got him, man. And it was just it was perfect.